Hello, my dear friends. Yes, I'm Brother Sean. I'm an enclosed lay monastic Franciscan monk, a member of the wonderful Teo community of St. Francis. We are not a Catholic or a Christian foundation. We're an international, interspiritual group of men and women who embrace the simple teachings of Francis of Assisi, and we embrace a simple life as monastics from our own home, but we meet regularly. In fact, we meet daily for morning and evening prayer and our peace vigil at 9 o'clock every night, which is dedicated to Gaia. Now let us come to the subject. Spirituality, sexuality, and religion. What do they have in common? Or do they have anything in common? Which is the odd one out, do you think? Well, I can only come to you with my own personal view. And you'll probably disagree with me, and that's okay too. Because this is not a formal lecture. This is a heart sharing. And I guess the odd one out is religion. Why do I say that? Well, let's look at it. Spirituality is not religion, and religion is not spirituality. Because when people see me in the habit, they immediately think of religion, and I don't blame them, because it's the sort of thing monks and nuns wear. Well, at least those who want to bear witness, because I know many nuns and monks in the Catholic Church today don't wear their habit of witness, which I think is a shame, because when anyone is in crisis on the high street, who do they seek out if they don't see one in a uniform? But by the by, spirituality is a way of life which I embrace as an interspiritual Franciscan. Though I do come from the Catholic Christian tradition, and having been a nursing monk for a number of years, I guess it's taken me 55 years to take responsibility for my spiritual journey and try and disassociate myself from the impact of negative theology embedded in religion. For me, spirituality is not only just a way of life, it's a journey of the soul to love, to embracing a loving God who accepts me as I am, made in the image and likeness of God. It is a personal walk with the Supreme. Whereas religion, whilst I incorporate a lot of the symbolism of religion in my life, such as the incense, the candles, the smells and the bells, but I do not buy into this fear mindset that I am a sinner, that I am evil, that I have to be punished, that God is a God of vengeance. Let me explain. Oh, it's about 10 years ago. I think I was only here about the first year we moved in to our little monastery here in the South Lakes. And I had a wonderful phone call from a lovely lady in Ireland who expressed disappointment that she couldn't come to my weekend seminars in Tipperary. And she sung to me the Celtic Blessing, which was awesome. But then came the punchline. She asked me, what was the difference between religion and spirituality? Well, I hesitated naturally. And she said, would you like me to share with you my understanding of it? And I said, please feel free. She said, religion is for those who live in fear of hell, and spirituality is for those of us who've come through hell. That clinched it for me, because that is the best description I have ever been given, and it is one that I endorse in my personal life. Religion left me in a place of absolute negativity, where I was afraid to be the person God created me to be. Religion is judgmental. It alienates the children of God because they dare to be different. Take the young mother or the young woman who's been divorced by her husband, or the mature woman who's been divorced by her husband, who's a Catholic Christian. She has a duty to say that to her priest. Many don't, for fear of being ostracized from the Eucharist. And a dear friend of mine who crossed over was a devout Catholic Christian lady and a very special friend. Her husband found a mistress, and she had a young son. And the priest got wind of it unknown to her, and when she went to receive the Eucharist on a day-to-day basis, he said to her, "No, you're not worthy." She was devastated. Her world came apart, not only because of the priest denying her the Eucharist, which was her life, but that her friends and family had witnessed this awful, embarrassing moment of rejection. And that catapulted her into a deep despair, which took many, many years for her to overcome, and she eventually died. What an indictment on a church to do that. And it's the same with the young men and women I supported in North Wales who had AIDS, where their doctors wouldn't see them and where local priests wouldn't hear their confession because they were still living in their eyes in sin, because they were in a loving relationship with their same-sex partner. And they were left totally distraught. Hence setting up the charity, the Immediate Mercy House Foundation. That is the ugly face of religion, and that is not the religion that God wants us to embrace. He wants us to embrace spirituality. He wants us to embrace spirituality and be free of negativity and destructible dogma. And that dogma has alienated so many men and women, priests and religious and nuns and monks and tarts with hearts. Because I have met them in my ministry over the years. When I had the the retreat centre in North Wales, which we ran for 12 years, we offered respite and sanctuary to men and women who dedicated their lives to God, who had become drug addict, alcoholic, because of despair, because of the church's teachings about their sexuality. Some of the nuns were lesbian, and though they hadn't engaged in a lesbian act with another woman, and the same for the male religious, they had these strong desires to want to foster and nurture a loving relationship with a same-sex partner. But the guilt, it initiated them into mental illness, and it raped their soul. So spirituality and sexuality, from my own understanding, are two gifts that God has given us. Man has given us religion to connect with God, but God has given us spirituality and sexuality as a gift from God, not from man. The church, religion, has not given us spirituality and sexuality. They condemn them. So who's right and who's wrong? I'm not here to sit in judgment on my Catholic Christian family whom I love. But thank God I'm on the outside now looking in than when I was on the inside looking out, living in fear of such a negative dogma. So sexuality, if you are in a same-sex relationship, I'm not condoning or condemning. I am saying that God created us in his image and likeness. And who am I to sit in judgment on the love you share with your partner? Embrace spirituality and there find the face of a loving God. Namaste.